potential. We'll be discussing them in far greater detail later in the book, but for now, just understand that by motivational strategies, we're referring to engaging and delighting a child, adolescent, or adult by using their unique interests and strengths when teaching them. We all learn best when we're interested in what we're studying and having fun. Feeling bored or being threatened with punishment will never spur anyone to greater involvement by choice. Being fascinated and discovering inherent rewards in every lesson will. Our goal in writing this book is to provide everyone with the opportunity to reach their maximum potential by focusing on motivational ways of teaching and by educating the larger community in supporting, accepting, and embracing the gifts autistic individuals offer. A few quick notes about language. As far as we can tell, some members of the autism community prefer to be described as autistic, and others prefer the terms having autism or being on the autism spectrum, while there are those who prefer the more general person with ASD, and so on. If there were a final consensus of the most respectful way to identify members of this community, we would absolutely stick to that. But since we find opinions vary, we've also chosen to vary the terms we use in this book. Whether that means no one will find fault with us or everyone will find fault with us remains to be seen. We imagine we'll end up somewhere in the middle. Also, you may notice as you read through the book, and even this foreword, that we lean heavily on the pronoun they as a general use pronoun, even when we're using a singular subject, something we were both taught not to ever do when we were kids. We were also taught not to split an infinitive, so maybe we're just born rebels. A strict grammarian may be frustrated by sentences like, visit your child's classroom and get to know their teacher. And we get it. It does sound odd to older ears, but we'd rather sound odd and be inclusive of anyone and everyone, no matter how they identify, than exclude anyone. Saying he or she or they over and over again would get awfully cumbersome after a while, so they it is. We also hope that readers will forgive us the laziness of using the term parents when referring to any and all guardians and or caregivers responsible for the welfare and upbringing of a child. We understand that many who love and care for autistic children are grandparents, aunts, uncles, siblings, foster parents, etc., and we recognize that families come in all shapes and sizes. Once again, we're choosing a simple solution to keep the word count brief, and parent is just our shorthand for the child's caregiver, whoever that may be. Repetition. If you read this book straight through from beginning to end, you'll gain a certain familiarity with some of our key concepts. You may even feel like we're repeating ourselves a bit. That's because a lot of what's true for supporting your child in one area will be equally valid for supporting them in another. For example, as we explained above, we believe in motivating your child to stay engaged by incorporating their favorite toys, interests, and activities into every learning opportunity. So references to motivational procedures crop up quite a bit in the book, and we're likely to throw in a quick reminder/explanation of what that means almost every time we mention them. If something's an important thing to note and remember in one area, it's probably going to be equally important in another, and we'd rather hammer these things home than risk being unclear. Support for all. Over the last decade or so, it has become increasingly challenging to figure out the right tone for a book about autism that's aimed at parents of children on the spectrum. Parents and educators are often struggling with a child's interfering behaviors and communication challenges. They deserve empathy and support, but the autism advocacy movement has understandably and rightfully been working hard to combat negative stereotypes and anti-autism sentiments. It's a delicate balance to advise without giving offense. Above all, we want to help people find the connections that enrich their lives, and we definitely want to do this in a way that's enjoyable for everyone involved. Please understand that our intention is to support every member of every family to the best of our abilities, and to encourage love, success, celebration, and triumphs.